Hey everybody, we are turning onto Bloods Point Road right now. I turned the flash off on my phone so that we don't get that glare back from the windshield.
Plus, if the cops see us with a light on in here, they're going to ticket us because I can't really see when there's a light flashing in here. So.
Right, but you can see fairly well with the headlights. So Dan, why don't you go ahead and tell us what we're doing right now?
All right, so we're heading up on Bloods Point Road towards the cemetery. So we're actually traveling east right now. Cherry Valley's behind us, and Bloods Point Cemetery is ahead of us. So we're coming up, and right up in here, we're probably maybe about 1/8 of a mile from the bridge. And they say if you stop on the bridge and put your car in neutral, you get pushed off. I was a firefighter around here from 1990 all the way until just about 3 years ago, and I grew up around here. This is the bridge that they talk about.
Now, if you were watching the video while Dan was talking, you noticed there was a really large incline going up, and there's a really large one going down. Right.
Also, what I want to tell you is that everybody says that a bus hit, or a bus load of kids was hit by a train there. When you're on top of that bridge, you're 30 feet above the train tracks. So if that actually happened, which I've lived around here my whole life, and I'm now over 40 years old, if that ever happened, I don't ever remember it happened. I have older siblings that never talked about it happening. My mother grew up in a town in Kirkland, just 5 miles from here. She never heard of it happening. My dad's been here since 1966. He's never heard of it happening. So I would say that one is debunked. It's an urban legend.
Debunked.
And if you stop and think about it and talk to people,
I'm sorry about the bumps. We are driving in a car.
or if you look at any of the internet sites, it seems like there's a bridge or a set of train tracks everywhere where a busload of kids was hit and pushes you either off the train tracks or off the bridge.
Right.
So.
And as we mentioned in the previous video, there's always a phantom truck that chases you down.
Yeah, I haven't been chased by any trucks tonight, and we didn't go the speed limit up the road, but I mean I didn't creep at 20 miles an hour by any means, but I haven't seen another car
at all
night.
Now, once we get closer to the cemetery, I guarantee you within a minute or two,
if we stop at the cemetery, somebody will pull up.
Right.
I don't really want to be talking to the cops tonight.
Right.
So
and I don't want to deal with the neighbor tonight either.
We're going to basically drive by the cemetery, and Larry can hand me the camera. I'll show you the cemetery really quick.
Right.
And we're going to make a right turn and head out of there.
Well, it's 11:40 right now when we're doing this recording, so we might even see someone in there.
Yeah, well, my brother and I were driving by last night heading to Belvedere, and there was a carload of kids right out on Bloods Point Road, and they were all running around the car, so I don't know if they were daring each other going to the cemetery or whatever, but the important thing to say is that if you guys are out here for a scare, whatever, we've never documented any kind of activity in Bloods Point Cemetery.
Right.
Never experienced anything there. The only thing I've experienced there is how sad it is that somebody would do $8,000 worth of damage kicking over gravestones.
The only scare you're going to get from Bloods Point Cemetery is the night in jail.
Yeah, because if they catch you doing it, you're going to go to jail for that. So,
right.
They will charge you. They will arrest you.
Yep.
And
if the cops don't get you, the neighbors will.
Yep, the neighbors will. Yeah, and the neighbor is very good about taking your license plate number and everything. So,
yep.
Guess what? Don't be out here messing around. I mean, if you want to stop and look at the cemetery, come out here during the day and look around. And the other thing that I want to say is, if you followed us while we were Small Town Paranormal, and if you follow us now, we've gotten just as much stuff in the daytime, if not more in the daytime, than we have at night. So,
but never anything here. Well, never anything at the cemetery. Once we end up coming up to it.
Now we're coming up on Bloods Point and Stone Quarry Road, and the next intersection stop will be Bloods Point Cemetery. So.
Yeah. Sorry about the length of the video, but you know, the bridge was back there. We didn't really want to start another video for the road and for the cemetery. So, you know, we're just gonna ask you kindly hang on. We'll be driving by the cemetery here in a minute or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from the last 5-minute video, you know, we've pretty much ascertained that the bridge is debunked. Nothing happened at the bridge. And Dave, you were telling us before about how the bridge actually has been redone within the last decade or so.
Yeah, it used to be more of an older bridge, but you know, it's been redone as a lot of these bridges in these rural areas have been pretty much updated now.
Yeah, so if you couldn't hear him, what he's saying was that a lot of these rural bridges have been redone, whereas before they weren't as level as they are now. They had a lot of steep grades to them, to where, like in all the urban legends, when you put your car in neutral, what happens when you do that on a hill?
You're gonna roll down it.
You're gonna roll. And if the bridge looks level, but it's not, it's somewhat pitched because of they don't want standing water to be on the bridge, you're gonna roll. You're gonna roll one direction or the other depending on where you're at the center point.
They gotta make it so the water runs off, guys.
Right.
So
we're coming up on the cemetery, so I'm gonna hand this off to Dan.
the cemetery is right here. You can kind of see the lights behind the trees there.
Yeah. Once we get up there, you should be able to see it.
Yeah, once we get up there, you'll be able to see the cemetery.
Luckily, there's no cars here, so.
So yeah, but there's Bloods Point Cemetery right there. And I'll roll down the window. You guys can all see it.
It's really nothing all that impressive.
No, it's just a little country cemetery. It was established in 1836. And
Losing the light now.
yeah, we're losing the light now. But
It's not all that big. There's nothing impressive stone-wise.
there's the end of the cemetery right there, guys. So I'm going to give this back over to Larry so he can put the camera back in the lights.
But that's pretty much it. Really, that's all there is to it. So anywhere you read Shadowlands or a couple of these websites where they're listing Bloods Point Road, Bloods Point Cemetery, Sweeney Road, all that stuff as being haunted for the things that we brought up in this video and the previous video, just think about the hauntings that they attribute to these places.
Right. A lot of this is urban legend, and I'm going to be the first to say that, you know, I think that any place could be haunted at any time,
Day or night.
day or night. But I'm not going to say Bloods Point Cemetery is haunted because I've never experienced anything there. Other people have, and maybe it is.
Yeah.
I've just never experienced anything there. But one thing that I can tell you for sure is if you're messing around in the cemetery at night, you're going to get arrested.
Right.
That I can tell you for certain.
Right. Well, yeah, because with where you work, you hear about it all the time.
I do.
Almost what, every night almost?
Every night.
Every night there's someone either getting arrested or having the cops called on them to get them arrested. So unless you want to be that someone, just come during the day.
Yep.
But we're coming up on 8 minutes 30 seconds now, so this is about as long as we want this video to be. So on behalf of Dave Norvell, our local historian in the back seat, and Ghost Hunter Dan, which I can't pan the camera to either of them because it's too dark, and myself, Ghost Hunter Larry, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Snoogie.